Every time gas prices spike, we all do the same thing. We stare at the giant digital sign on the corner, watch the numbers climb, and think, man, the guy who owns this place must be absolutely printing money. It makes perfect sense on paper. Gas stations have a captive audience, a product everyone needs, and a steady stream of hundreds of cars every single day. But here is the twist. That giant price sign, it is almost entirely a mirage. If you look at the actual economics of owning a gas station, you quickly realize that selling gas is often the least profitable part of the entire business. In fact, on a bad day, a station owner might actually lose money on every single gallon you pump. So, how do gas stations actually make money? Why do major oil companies own almost none of them anymore? And what does it really take to survive in one of the most brutal, low-margin brick-and-mortar businesses on Earth? Let's talk about the real numbers behind the pumps. To understand why gas stations aren't secret gold mines, we have to look at where your money actually goes when you buy a gallon of fuel. Let's say you pay $3.50 for a gallon of regular unleaded. Roughly 55% of that goes straight to the cost of the crude oil itself. Another 15% goes to refining costs. About 12% goes to distribution and marketing. And roughly 13% goes directly to federal, state, and local taxes. What's left for the station owner? Usually, a gross margin of about 10 to 15 cents per gallon. But wait, that is gross margin. We haven't factored in the overhead yet. Once the owner pays for electricity, insurance, labor, and the absolute killer, credit card swipe fees, which take about 2 to 3% right off the top, the actual net profit per gallon drops to a staggering 3 to 7 cents. Think about that. If you pump 15 gallons of gas, the owner might walk away with just one single dollar of profit. If gas prices spike rapidly, wholesale costs rise faster than retail prices can adapt, and that tiny margin can completely vanish overnight. This creates a hyper-competitive nightmare called the penny war. Gasoline is a commodity. Consumers don't have brand loyalty to fuel. They have brand loyalty to price. If the station across the street drops their price by 2 cents, your volume can plummet by 20% in a single afternoon. You are forced to price match, dragging your margins down even further. Which brings us to a glaring contradiction. If the gas makes no money, why build the station at all? The secret to the gas station business model is that a gas station is not actually a gas station. It is a convenience store disguised as one. The pumps outside are essentially a loss leader. Their sole economic purpose is to act as a giant multi-million-dollar billboard to get you to pull off the road, park your car, and walk through those glass doors. Because once you walk inside, the economic reality changes completely. While fuel accounts for roughly 65 to 70% of a typical station's total revenue, it accounts for less than 30% of its profit. The remaining 70% of the profit comes from the inside of the store. Let's look at the margins on the items inside. Packaged beverages like soda and energy drinks bring in a 40% to 50% profit margin. Candy and snacks sit at around 40% to 45%, and fresh brewed coffee pulls up to a massive 60% to 70% profit margin. When you buy a $3.50 gallon of gas, the owner makes a nickel. When you buy a $3.50 energy drink and a bag of chips inside, the owner makes nearly $2. This is why modern gas stations are evolving. The old, greasy, two-bay mechanic garages of the 1980s are gone. In their place are high-end convenience hubs, built-in fast food franchises, and custom coffee bars. The goal is simple: maximize inside sales per foot traffic. So, let's say you see the vision. You want to buy or build a station. What does the balance sheet actually look like? First, the barrier to entry is immense. Building a modern gas station from scratch is not cheap. You need a prime corner lot with high traffic counts, which carries premium real estate pricing. Then come the environmental and specialized construction costs. Those underground storage tanks, double-walled for leak prevention, cost hundreds of thousands of dollars alone. Add in the canopy, the digital signage, the dispensers, and the retail building. and a new build can easily run between $2 million and $7 million. Because of this, most independent owners opt to buy an existing franchise or sign a fuel supply agreement. There are generally two routes you can take. First, the branded route. You partner with a major oil company like Shell or Chevron. They give you the recognizable brand name, which brings immediate trust and volume. In exchange, you are locked into buying their fuel, often at a premium price, which squeezes your already thin gas margins even more. Second, the unbranded route. You buy from independent wholesalers. Your fuel costs are lower, giving you more flexibility on price, but you don't get the marketing muscle or the automatic customer draw of a major logo. And regardless of the route you choose, you are taking on massive liability. Environmental regulations are strict. A single undetected leak in an underground tank can lead to millions of dollars in soil remediation costs and instantly bankrupt an owner. This brings us to the existential question facing the industry today. What happens when the world stops buying gas? The rise of electric vehicles presents a fascinating economic puzzle for station owners. On one hand, EV drivers stay parked longer than gas drivers. A typical gas fill-up takes 3 to 5 minutes. A fast EV charge takes 20 to 30 minutes. In theory, that is 20 to 30 minutes of a captive audience waiting around with nothing to do but walk inside and buy high-margin coffee and snacks. But on the other hand, the infrastructure cost to install high-speed DC chargers can top $100,000 per bay, and the local electrical grid often requires massive, expensive upgrades to support them. Furthermore, many EV owners simply charge at home overnight, bypassing the neighborhood station entirely for their daily commutes. The industry is already splitting. Small, single-pump legacy stations in rural areas are quietly disappearing. Meanwhile, megastations, behemoths like Buc-ee's, Wawa, and Sheetz, are expanding rapidly. They are transforming into true destinations, turning the fuel station model completely on its head by offering massive food courts, pristine restrooms, and an experience that mimics a mini amusement park more than a pit stop. The economics of owning a gas station are a masterclass in retail survival. It is a business where you fight over pennies on the outside so you can invite people inside to buy dollars. The next time you pull up to a pump and complain about the price per gallon, just remember, the person who owns that station isn't getting rich off your tank. They are just hoping you get thirsty enough to go inside and buy a soda.